Bengals look for their first win of the season. Mike Petraglia inside Paycor Stadium. Bengals and Washington Commanders for the first time ever on a Monday night. Bengals last 2 years have started 0-2. They want to make sure that they repeat history, at least in this regard. They have won in week number 3 the last 2 times they have started 0-2. In 2022, they were on the road. They beat the New York Jets. 4 days later, they won on Thursday Night Football here at Paycor against Miami. They were 2-2 and off and rolling. Last year, also on a Monday night, they beat the Los Angeles Rams 16-9. It was not a pretty affair. It was gritty, but it was the kind of win that the Bengals needed to get their season off on the right foot. A couple of days later, 6 days later, they lost in Tennessee and then finally got going with 4 consecutive wins. Tonight, they have the Washington Commanders. They beat the New York Giants last week on a last-second field goal. And when you're talking about Washington and you're talking about the Bengals offense, you want to make sure that 2 players don't wreck your game plan. Darren Payne and Jonathan Allen, 2 defensive tackles in the middle of that defensive front for the Washington Commanders. The Bengals have to keep eyes and keep tabs on them at all time. Injuries for the Washington Commanders, they will not have star defensive end Clelin Ferrell. He is out of this game with a knee injury, so that should help the Bengals' offensive cause. Of course, a big storyline, T. Higgins returns for the first time in 2024. He tweaked his hamstring the Thursday before the season opener against the New England Patriots. And really, the Bengals' offense has not looked the same since. They could not generate really much of anything against the New England Patriots, losing 16-10. Then, against the Kansas City Chiefs, they had a couple leads but couldn't hold on, losing the heartbreaker at the buzzer last weekend, 26-25 at Arrowhead. In terms of offensive line for the Bengals, this may be the NFL debut of first-round pick Amarius Mims. He missed the first 2 games with the strained pec. He may be available to the Bengals tonight, likely is available to the Bengals. He could come in jumbo packages. If something happens with Trent Brown at right tackle, he could come in and spell Trent Brown for a couple of snaps or even longer than that. The game situation certainly will dictate that, but Amarius Mims could make his NFL debut tonight. Defensive side of the ball, Chris Jenkins Jr., he could make his NFL debut tonight as well. He injured his right hand and thumb in preseason. He had to have a thumb surgery on the Friday before the season opener against the New England Patriots. Missed the first 2 games, but he is expected to play tonight with a cast on that right hand, and we'll see how much it impacts his ability to move around, his dexterity. Of course, he won't be able to grab any shirts or anything for leverage with the right hand, but he will be able to do so with the left hand. But what they're really looking for from Chris Jenkins Jr. is not to get pushed around. Obviously, the depleted defensive line's been well documented as Sheldon Rankins is out with a hamstring injury. B.J. Hill not expected to play, also with a hamstring injury, both sustained and suffered last week in Kansas City. Lawrence Guy could make his Bengals debut, should make his Bengals debut tonight, with certainly Sheldon Rankins unavailable and B.J. Hill also expected to be out. Lawrence Guy will be in this game tonight, and what you can expect from Lawrence Guy is a massive guy in the middle of, no pun intended, in the middle of the line who doesn't get moved around, takes up double teams, and that is something that could be very, very valuable to the Bengals, especially when you're trying to stop the run game of the Washington Commanders, which has been led by quarterback Jaden Daniels. Also, Austin Eckler is a multi-purpose back. He can hurt you through the air. He can hurt you on the ground. So he is somebody that Zach Taylor and the coaching staff very familiar with from Eckler's days with the Los Angeles Chargers. So keep an eye on Austin Eckler as well. Jaden Daniels, somebody that the Bengals want to make sure can't get out of the pocket and make huge plays with his feet downfield, somewhat in the same way as Patrick Mahomes last week with the Chiefs. But with Mahomes, you had to be more concerned about him making throws down the field. Jaden Daniels can do both. Of course, it's Ring of Honor night here at Paycor Stadium. Halftime, it will be the induction of Tim Krumrie and the Bengals' all-time leading rusher, Corey Dillon. Both of those names going up on the east facade behind me in a halftime ceremony. Bengals so far 3-0 on Ring of Honor night. They look to make it 4-0 tonight as they look to get a win, their first of the year, against the Washington Commanders. We'll have you completely covered after the game. Be sure to tune in for the skinny Jungle War Bengals postgame pod on the Jungle War podcast page at youtube.com/@JungleWarPod. Follow me on the X @Trags, TRAGS. And as always, follow online at CLNS Cincy with a Y.com. Inside Paycor Stadium, Mike Petraglia, CLNS Media.